Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode 221. Today is October 6th. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me is Mandrew Montemayor.
Hey, fall's here.
Dude, fall is here. I was, this morning, we're actually looking at the weather, dude. It was nice and cool.
Next week, nice and cool.
We had the windows open, the doors open. I don't think it's, the afternoon gets kind of hot. I think it was like 90 degrees, so it's not sweater yet in the afternoon, but it's definitely a coat in the morning.
I'm saying, I think it's only going to be 90 once this week, but it's supposed to rain, and next week it says like all 70s.
Dude, we're finally past that, the atrocious Arizonian heat. So guys, off the top, we just want to say, we have been gone for a minute, probably a solid month. Outside of some scheduling issues and some trips here and there, it did kind of get to a point where I was just like, and this was kind of mainly on me, I'm just like, dude, let's just do it. Let's just start fresh in October. So apologies if you guys have been missing the show, but we should be back on track. So if you guys are joining us right now, if you're watching us on the YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Of YouTube, shameless plug. I just thought of it, so that's why I jumped in here. Since it's October, I did one last year where I did 3 games that I think were like a little bit underrated that you should play if you're looking for something good for horror for Halloween. And we also had done a scary movie one for our tops as well. So if you're looking for spooky stuff, go look through our tops, and we've got a couple different options for you.
You gonna do that after?
No, I got it.
So comment, subscribe, share. So what Andrew's referencing is, you're talking about our last year videos and stuff, right?
Yeah, we do
past videos. Okay, are you doing a new one this year?
I wouldn't know. I just did the one last year. I feel like that's one of those things you do like every other year, you know?
Oh, every other year. Okay. So if you guys are interested in following us on our social media, our link tree links in the description will take you to our Facebook and our Instagram. If you guys are listening to the audio-only version of the podcast, check us out on your podcast platform of choice. So, since we've been gone for roughly 3 to 4 weeks, we kind of just want to do a recap edition of kind of a lot of things that have happened in September and kind of leading up to a couple things that have just happened recently. So this will be kind of more of an off-the-top episode. But before we have what we initially have in our notes, Andrew and I were literally just talking off camera that the resurgence of Halo, which is now which is a Paramount Plus show, which is now on Netflix. They finally licensed it out. And even though it did really well on Paramount, it surged into the top 5 shows for Netflix and is doing phenomenally well, because after season 2 it did get canceled on Paramount Plus. So kind of the talks right now is because it's not just doing that, it's more eyeballs on Netflix, because a lot of people don't have Paramount Plus, so it's safe to assume more people would watch it on Netflix. But the fact that it's jumping into a top 5 is showing a lot of resurgence. So there's whispers and stuff of maybe them doing a season 3. Would you want a season 3? And do you think Netflix should be the new home? Because what a lot of people are misunderstanding is that Paramount still owns the rights. Netflix is just streaming it. So if they were going to make a new show, they'd either have to do a deal with Paramount or buy the rights from them to then produce a season 3.
I know we enjoyed it. It had its ups and downs. I mean, so we were pretty critical of it. If they did do another season, which I easily think that they could, because they were finally getting to the heat of where everything was good, especially towards the end of the second season is where it was starting to really get good, is... Let's say you look back down and you're like, okay, here's where we feel like the problems are. It's easy to fix from here going forward, because everything they had done didn't really touch so much of the games. Like, it just set out that the Halo is there and that you have the Covenant, and that's kind of really it, and some of the stuff with this part. So you could easily pick up where this is, Halo 1 in the game, and just move forward and do whatever changes you think people want to see. Keep his helmet on, ditch the chick, do it. It's all easily fixable stuff if it's things you had problems with.
Yeah, and I think clearly season 2 was by far the better season. So it sucks that that's kind of where it left off. So if it was going to get picked up, I think at least one more go in a season might be good. But again, Paramount might not want to give the rights to Netflix, because you never know if they do want to hold on to it to make a movie later down the line, or simply reboot the show. So we will see. But yeah, that just happened, I believe, on October 1st is when it came to Netflix, and it shot up to the top 5. So good for Halo to get new eyes on it. So with that, guys, we're just going to continue doing off the top kind of news. And the first one is that the Mortal Kombat 2 movie has been delayed. So I'll read this to you real quick. Mortal Kombat 2 has been delayed by Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema from its original October 24th, 2025 release date to May 15th, 2026. The move was strategic, placing the sequel in a more lucrative summer blockbuster window rather than the crowded October slate. This allows the film, which stars Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, to stand out and potentially achieve greater financial success. So I think it's really unfortunate that it missed October. I think Mortal Kombat does kind of fit into, not so much the spooky season, but you've got those, costumed characters. And I was looking at movies that were going to be coming out in October to see what could have been taking it away. You had The Smashing Machine, which is already out, which was a huge flop. You have The Bone Lake, The Good Boy, which looks fantastic. That's the dog that can see ghosts and stuff like that. Yeah. You have the Taylor Swift movie that's coming out, Tron Ares, a couple other ones, but nothing to me stood out that would have taken away box office from something like Mortal Kombat. So I can see if you want to just stay out of the season in general, but to say they were taking it out of October for a more summer blockbuster, I'd argue it's going to have a harder time to make its money in a summer blockbuster season than it would be against a few, generally speaking, lower budget horror films.
Yeah, especially too, you don't know like what could be announced next year and then soon and then put around that kind of slate. It's hard to kind of take that with a grain of salt, and I hope that is the true reason. But there are lots of people who have like seen it up front, the screenings. A lot of people saying like that it's way better, it's really really good, and so that they have the confidence, and I kind of want to believe that versus no, we're just like reshooting stuff, but we could use this as a reason. Because I thought the same thing. I'm like, there's nothing coming out that I think would really take away from anything. The only one of those movies that even has any legs to stand on would be Tron, which is a sequel to I think Tron
Legacy or something.
Legacy came out when I was like 18, so that's been like 16 years, and then I guess the Swifties, but
yeah. So if they have looked at it analytically and seen that it will do better, then yeah, take all the time you need, I suppose, because you don't really get another shot with this. The first movie didn't do that well on a budget of $55 million. It only made $84 million, which is why it's surprising that there is a number 2 because number 1 did so bad. So if they do earnestly think that this will be a better time slot for it, then sure, because I don't want it to fail, and I would like to, if number 2 is as good as they're saying, I would like to see a number 3.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, guys, let's move into the second one, and that is that the Twisted Metal Season 2 came out, and it did surprisingly well. So, Twisted Metal Season 2 significantly improved upon Season 1 in terms of critical reception, with Rotten Tomatoes scores of 90% plus for Season 2 compared to the 67% for Season 1, and has more episodes, 12 in total, than Season 1, which only had 10 episodes. So, I ended up finishing it. Did you end up watching it all? Did you start it?
I think I got through like the 5th one, but then a lot of games came out on top of the fact that like my son, so I've just been so busy that I'm like, okay, I haven't gone back to it yet. I want to though. And I was really loving it.
Great, yeah. It's like Halo 2. Better though. But it's like Halo Season 2. It's much better. It got rid of what I think held it down, which a lot of people were like, come on, this is Twisted Metal. Make it Twisted Metal. It did lean much more into the Destruction Derby style tournament. There were great new characters. They redid, there's a new Raven, which is, I guess, more aligned with the games, with kind of the more gothic girl. You get Axel, you get Vermin, you get Grim.
I love Grim.
The Grim was fantastic. I think all the new characters were really done well. The comedy is still great. Now, because it did so well, the talks are that they're going to do a Season 3, but as of right now, it hasn't been greenlit. But they're saying that they've got enough lined up to do a Season 3 and Season 4, and the direction that they would want to kind of lean more into would be the supernatural. Is that kind of where... I never really got into the games hardcore. Is that where the storyline goes?
I had only played, I think, like the first 2 a long time ago, so I couldn't say, but I would imagine so, because that is kind of how like a lot of them were, especially as far as some of the characters were. You don't really explain them, and then even still, Calypso does do like this weird like monkey's paws wish, I think, at the ending whenever you do whatever. So it's supernatural, but I don't want to say it's like... I guess it is pretty far out there, because I know there are like ghosts and people who are supposed to be dead, like returning and stuff like that. So
yeah, because it does end with what they set up for Season 3. So if you haven't seen it and you've been on the fence about it, check it out, because it is much better than Season 1. And Season 1 was still pretty good. So with that being said, guys, let's move into our next topic, and that is that Gears of War and Helldivers 2 have came out. This is officially them kind of switching sides. Gears of War is a first-party Xbox game, where Helldivers 2 is a second-party PlayStation game. And just to kind of catch up on what they are, Gears of War Reloaded is a remastered version of the original 2006 title, launched on August 26, 2025 for Xbox Series, PC, Cloud Gaming, PS5, and Steam. It features enhanced graphics including 4K resolution, 4K textures, native HDR, and a locked 60 FPS with 120 FPS multiplayer. So this is kind of now the reimagined definitive edition, because there was Gears of War Ultimate, but that's only on Xbox. So now that this is on PlayStation, we were kind of speculating how well it was going to do. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like Gears translated that well with PlayStation players. Gears of War Reloaded has had a weak sales on PS5 with approximately 259,000 copies sold on the platform, according to a report from September 2025. The bulk of the game's total 1.3 million players came from the Xbox side, largely through the Xbox Gamepass, indicating that the PlayStation release did not resonate as strongly with players compared to its Xbox counterpart. So, on the other hand, you have Helldivers, which was a 2024 cooperative third-person shooter video game developed by Arrowhead Game Studios and published by Sony Interactive that came out. So not only did Helldivers do really well when it launched on PlayStation, Helldivers 2 became the PlayStation's fastest-selling game of all time, selling over 12 million copies on PS5 within the first 12 weeks of its release. It did quite well on Xbox as well.
We bought it.
I definitely bought it, and it's lots of fun. Helldivers 2 quickly became the best-selling game on the Xbox following its launch on August 26, 2025, topping the top paid chart within its first week. By September 3rd, 2025, the game was reported to have sold 1 million copies on the platform, according to user reports, and was listed as the most played title on Xbox at that time. So, with that being said, Gears of War is a known brand, and for a while when people were waiting for games to come from Xbox to PlayStation, Gears of War was kind of on top of that list. But why do you think Gears did so poorly compared to Helldivers doing much better than on the crossover? Especially when it's going for the same kind of audience.
I'll say, honestly, for me, I don't think that I think Gears kind of like faded like a long time ago. And there are people who love it and they think it's like the best game and they put it above Halo. I don't think so. Like, I don't think I guess maybe I kind of liked it before, but to me, it's always been one of those, like, a dude bro, these buff, overly big guys, just like, what would be like an army of two. Like, we don't have those anymore, because it's, like, kind of almost along the lines of the same, like, this big macho man thing, and I've just never, like, been into it. I don't think it's, like, that interesting. So, maybe people agree with me. I can't understand why people wouldn't get it, unless that's the only reason why. I don't think it's, like, I feel like Halo's gameplay is so good and the story is good that it would transcend. Halo, when that eventually does come to PlayStation, I think will do numbers. I didn't think Gears would do numbers regardless.
Yeah, and Gears is kind of set up more to be a campaign, which is not really that long. You and I both played it recently. It was really good, but when you're looking at the online aspect, I don't see anybody really going back and stacking the Gears of War online, where Helldivers is in its prime, is in its peak, and I feel like Xbox players they thought they were missing out on more with Helldivers than anyone on PlayStation felt like they were missing out with old Gears of War multiplayer. And the marketing for Helldivers was fantastic with all the new Xbox players coming in. So kudos for Helldivers. We've been playing both of them. One of the things I was reading too is that the community for PlayStation people coming on to play Gears, that like Xbox players were treating them like shit. They were really kind of taking advantage of them on the online multiplayer. Where on the other way around, I felt like the community from PlayStation and PC was very welcoming on Helldivers, like that, like helping people out, showing them how to do runs and everything like that. So it just kind of shows the difference of the welcoming community.
Yeah, the mentality.
So you played on both though. Is Helldivers something you're still going to continue with? Are you still playing daily games?
I haven't been doing it daily recently because I've been doing a couple other like games that I'm kind of grinding on, but I do keep trying to go back to it, and I have played with like people that are like way higher level than me, and they're helping out and doing whatever, and I haven't had anyone like write me and talk like crap to me or nothing. So that that's been nice, because there's lots of times too where I'm just like, okay, like I don't know how to destroy this thing, so I'm out there just trying not to die and just maybe looping enemies around or something like that. But
I got to get back into it a little more. I mean, big shout out to
it is insanely fun.
Yeah, shout out to Sean Love and Cody Flippin. That's who I've been playing with, and Geno, having a blast. So let us know what you guys think about that as well. So our next topic is that there was a Nintendo Direct on September 12th, which was about an hour long. If you guys are interested in it, I'll put the link in the description. But we mainly just want to mention the big highlight, which was the Mario announcements. And two things: the game bundle announced and a new movie. So this Super Mario Galaxy bundle takes the 2 original Wii games and repackages them for the original Nintendo Switch. This port is thanks to the upcoming Super Mario Galaxy movie that is coming out later in 2026, but it's also already proving to be very popular as a pre-order. So starting with the games, it is a $69.99 bundle, and you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody to not say that these are still one of the best platformers of all time. Number one, sure, but most people would put Super Mario Galaxy 2 on top of their list. So I actually recently just got it. Andrew came in. I was actually in the middle of playing it. I wanted to see if it still felt as good. I haven't played it since the Wii, and I was thinking, I'm like, that was kind of a long time ago. What, 2007? So it's like, the Wii U's gone by, the Switch, now the Switch 2. So it's been a few generations. I'm going to try to run through them. I'm playing it on the Pro Controller. Maybe I should go to the Joy-Cons because that is kind of more how it was designed to do it. But is it worth something to dust off the old Switch for you? I don't know. I forget what you said. If you've beaten them before or you haven't played them?
I haven't done either of the Galaxies. I do have the other collection that's 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy 1. So it is something I do plan on getting to, eventually. I don't know that I would buy this, though, because then essentially I'm paying $70 for one game because I already have the other one. So maybe if it's on a sale...
Well, I think you can buy them a la carte for $40.
Oh, well then...
or $30 or $40. I think you can buy them separately. Just the bundle was the big push.
Maybe I would. I think if you haven't, especially if you didn't get the other bundle, then why not? Because I can't remember the last time I played a bad Mario game. Then I'm like, this is just not good at all.
Yeah. So the bundle's out if you guys are looking to get it. But the other thing that was announced, and probably the more exciting news, was the Mario Galaxy movie was announced with a short little teaser. It's saying that it's going to be released on April 3rd of 2026. Now, some fans are kind of upset about the title. They feel like jumping the Galaxy maybe be a bit too soon. Where's Super Mario World? You could have introduced a lot more characters. What was happening with Yoshi? Are we jumping straight to Galaxy where, you could have had a Super Mario movie, Super Mario World, Galaxy, set up a trilogy? But on the other hand, there's other people that I've been reading saying, well, Super Mario, the movie is Super Mario World. So what else is there to wait around for? I think I'm on the camp where it's I think you should have done maybe a Yoshi's Island or something first and then go to Galaxy. Because once you are in Galaxy, what more can you go forward on? Because even the later on games are still going back to Super Mario World. So do you feel that was a jump too soon?
I don't think so, because you can even do World later on when he comes back, because maybe if Galaxy does whatever, as soon as he comes back, Bowser could have World's real big introduction is all the individual little, even though they're there before, but I think it's more personalized with the Koopalings and stuff. Mm-hmm. But you could throw that in anything. I think what would be cool is you just end this movie and just end it in the stupidest way where it's oh man, I could use a vacation, and just set up for Sunshine, or Luigi just says something stupid oh hey, I just won this mansion, come check it out.
Actually, do you think they'll do spin-offs and stuff like that and do a Luigi's Mansion?
I would love to. Actually, I would have preferred that. I think would have been better than jumping into another Mario movie. Would have been doing a Luigi's Mansion or something. And then maybe after you do 3, then you could do the prequel of Yoshi's Island when they're babies. That would be cool too. I think it doesn't really matter when it's Mario. I feel you can kind of jump all over the place. I don't understand how people... Yoshi's Island is the only one where it's okay, this takes place at a finite time in whatever. Everything else, you're kind of just filling it in. Mario could just as well meet Yoshi on his way to wherever versus, I found this egg and whatever.
Yeah, because kind of the way... If I remember right, doesn't the movie end with a Yoshi Easter
There's a Yoshi egg, yeah.
Pun intended. So, yeah, it is... if that's the setup, then I'm curious where they're going to go. But, again, I don't have that big of a problem with it. What I would have you want to see them get the most out of this franchise, and I just think going to Galaxy is kind of thing, okay, well, now where do they go next? Because then, what do? You do Mario movie, Galaxy, and then Mario World? It's just a little misleading.
They end this movie with Peach saying, we should throw a party.
Oh, there you go.
And then
there you go.
Fade to black.
Hey,
you're done.
That's it. So, guys... let us know, and it is coming next year, so that is nice that they're actually moving pretty quick on it.
I'm stoked for it, and I love the last one. The last one to me is a 10 movie.
Yeah.
I think if you just go into it and have fun, there's a lot of people who are kind of oh, well, if you put on your critical thinking cap, the story and this and that. No, just go in there. It was so much fun. I still watch that movie. I can't wait for my son to be old enough so we can watch it together. Perfect.
So let us know you guys' thoughts on Mario Galaxy games and movie. And with our next piece of news, we have that Sony just did a State of Play, which was on September 24th. It was about 40 minutes long. The link for that will be in the description as well if you haven't seen it. Pretty solid, had lots of stuff. I think it really kind of had something for everybody. Showed off a lot of main party things, but the focus we want to do is kind of just on the big reveal of Marvel's Wolverine game. And just a quick note of what's going on with it. Marvel's Wolverine is among our most anticipated upcoming Marvel games set to launch in the not too distant future. The developer is looking beyond the best Wolverine stories in Marvel Comics to deliver an original story, meaning even the biggest Wolverine nerds will have something fresh to sink their adamantium claws into. You may have even spotted some fan favorite characters in the first gameplay reveal, including Mystique and Omega Red. So it is interesting to know it's going to be an original storyline. You have, was it Liam McIntyre?
Yeah.
As the voice who was from Spartacus. I think a lot of questions were, because this game has kind of been in development hell for a while. I know they lost one of the lead creatives on it, and it was announced a couple years back. So it's finally good to see an actual trailer, even though there wasn't, I don't think, any gameplay really. It was all cinematics, right?
There was that big leak, though, that kind of had gameplay, too, and a lot of people were trashing it off of that.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that as well. And I know a lot of people were kind of thinking, what's because it's Insomniac who made Spider-Man, and it's going to be like, what's the open world going to be like? Is it going to mimic Spider-Man? What's the brutality going to be like? And I think they answered those questions saying that it's going to be more, I don't want to say like Uncharted, probably a little bigger in a sandbox, but it's more kind of location to location and clearing out things, which I like better than being in a big Spider-Man type world. And then when it comes to the brutality, that was instantly shut down. As soon as Wolverine rammed his claws through the guy's head, we can tell that this is going to be a bloody, savage Wolverine game. And I believe they solidified it that this is a game that takes place in the Spider-Man universes as well. So you saw, what were your initial thoughts?
I thought it looked good, and I hope it does good, especially, too, those guys work really hard, and it was kind of really sad to see, like, the story and all that stuff leak. I just think it's funny, though, too. I don't know if you've seen, like, a lot of people are like, look what they took from us, and they'll find some, like, Marvel image of like Mystique with a fat ass, and then her in the game she's kind of like a little flattish, and it's like we could have had this, and it's like, bro, you guys are like, wait, stop gooning, like you're insane.
I do like that they did show Mystique and Omega Red. I think
spoilers, sorry.
Well, it's in the trailer. I do think a lot of people are. I think it'd be no surprise that Sabretooth is going to be in the game, and probably things from like Omega Flight. But seeing Omega Red I thought was cool because he's not an underperforming character, but like I think if you're not a comic book reader, you don't really see him in too many things. Like he's not really in any of the movies, a few games and stuff like that. So to see him realize like this, I think is going to be pretty cool, assuming he's done right.
I would say he is underrepresented.
Yeah.
And I personally like Omega Red. I think Omega Red's super dope.
Yeah, he's got the vibrating like whip cords and things like that. So it's set to come. I don't know if they gave an official date. I know it's sometime next year, so you can look forward to that. So that's kind of everything that gets us caught up with September. However, there is some bigger news that just happened with Xbox earlier this month. So that is that Xbox is now increasing their prices for Gamepass. Let me just read this real quick, and then Andrew, you can go with it as you will. In July 2024, Microsoft raised the price of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate from $16.99 a month to $19.99 a month in the U.S., with similar price increases occurring across all other markets. At the same time, it introduced a new standard tier at the original Game Pass Ultimate price point that lacks day one game access. Now, just 14 months later, Microsoft has once again hiked the price of Ultimate, which jumps from $19.99 a month to $29.99 a month. That's an increase of 50% in the US, or an extra $120 a year. In the UK, that jumps is 53.33%, with Ultimate rising from $14.99 to $22.99, or an extra £96 year or euros. Yeah, that's. I know you had a lot to say about this, so why don't you start us off?
I just think it's absolutely insane. There is value there, and that's kind of hard to deny, especially when you put out games like Expedition 33, Silk Song just came out, even though those aren't full price games, even though you get the first party. But $360 for a year is just crazy. To me, it reminds me of, I would pay less for like a gym membership and not feel bad about the days when I don't use it. Because there are lots of months where I was okay to let this go by at $20 a month and me not using it because it's not a big deal. But that extra it's just so greedy, especially when that's how it has to come off, because all they talk about is how it's profitable, not just for us, and sustainable, but it's profitable for people who are putting their games on our collections, and it gives them lots of noticeability, and it does really well for them. So then why raise this price? And I hate the answer that apologists are out there giving is, well, what they did is they gave you more value. You're not losing price. And again, we're not going to get into some of the other countries. Like I think in Brazil, it's like 100% increase. But the big change that you get from this Ultimate now, and they're like, oh, they put out some BS, just lip service response of, well, here's what you're getting now with the Ultimate, is you also get Ubisoft Plus, and a lot of people thought that was the whole Plus, which would make sense, and maybe I could have done with that, because we're going to do like almost what I would do for this. I'll sub and then I'll cancel when there's a game that I want to play. But no, it's the Ubisoft Classics. Who hasn't beaten Assassin's Creed Black Flag or sent it twice as a million of the other games that are on there? They're all been played. They've all been beaten. There's no point. And then Fortnite Crew, which I think is like $10, $12.
$12, something like that.
But I don't play Fortnite. That I don't care enough for the Battle Pass. So instead of you giving me this fake value, I don't understand why they didn't just say, okay, well, here's another tier then for people that's going to be at this price, or you could just stay at that 20. That would have even made more sense. It just comes off as just absolutely greedy, and what it really makes me feel like, too, is they're counting, again, so many people are quick to cancel off of this that the website crashed, that you couldn't even go through and cancel, but I'm sure they're accounting for that, and that just means that you're hoping for people like me, people like you, that do play a bunch of stuff and kind of try to use it as much as possible. But now that makes me feel like I'm what they call them, like mobile games, like a whale. I'm the whale now. I'm the person who is, there's lots of these other people at the lower tiers that are spending 1, 2, but we've hooked these big people, and that's going to continue to make up for that. And I don't want to feel like that it doesn't take effect until I think November 22nd.
If you're already a member, yeah.
If you're already a member, so mine won't get charged until then. That I'm deeply considering just canceling, or I'm gonna lower it down to the $10 one, and I'll either buy a game when it comes out, or I'll up it to play that game and then drop it back down, because it does not make sense for me anymore for $360 a year. I mean, I'd have to do some math. There are other games that we buy throughout the year, but that's just so insane, especially for the longest time we've been arguing how this was such a better value than PlayStation Plus, and now PlayStation Plus is the better value.
PlayStation Plus is an extremely good deal. Yeah, it's interesting because on paper, $30 a month for what you're getting is a pretty good bundle. But the fact is I think they were averaging out that you've got to be playing, because time is what you don't have. The price is right for what you're getting. The time of what you're investing isn't worth the money that you're inputting, because you just don't have enough time to play it. Now, if you're guys like Andrew and I, and a couple of our buddies, yeah, we play a lot of games, so we do get a lot. Because when you're looking at things like Clair Obscure, Oblivion, Gears, Hollow Knight, and you're taking advantage of that.
None of those are full price games, by the way.
Even better, which is you've got to be averaging 6 to 7 AAA titles to even make it worth the investment, where there's a lot of people that just don't do that. And I think there's a statistic saying that the average Xbox player plays 7 hours a week or something along the lines of where the math doesn't compute to where you're not playing enough out of it. So, but you can also look at it where from a stingy side of Xbox, I believe what they were saying is that as long as, because like Andrew was saying, so many people went in to go cancel it that it was shutting down the servers. I believe they were saying that as long as their number doesn't hit below half of what their Game Pass subscribers are, and they lose X amount, the $30 will still make them more money than what they have going on right now. So the thing is, you just don't do it in that big of a jump. You do increments. Like, it should have been something like $24.99 first, and then maybe a year later, then you do 30. But to do the big jump is insane. And just to kind of put you on clear what the tiers are now, is there's going to be the Essential tier, which gets you 50 games, plus all the online stuff. The Premium, which gets you 200 games. And the biggest thing I noticed is that the new Xbox published games can be within a year of launch, because one of the things Xbox said is you're always going to have day one launches by anything published by Xbox, which is not the case anymore. And I'd have to imagine that that's because of things like Call of Duty. They want to get some of that money back. So if you're not getting Call of Duty day one on Ultimate, you're going to be paying for it, which I think they really want.
I think it even says on there too, you have to look under like print, because I'd seen this somewhere, is that it says day one games within a year. except for Call of Duty.
Except for Call of Duty, so yeah, there's another black eye for it. And then the Ultimate is going to be the 400 games with things coming on day one. And as Andrew said earlier, getting the Ubisoft, or half of the Ubisoft Plus collection in Fortnite is even bigger bang for its buck, but they're kind of, they're shadowing it. That's good for new players. If you're 16, you're a young kid and dad's paying for your Ultimate, cool, Fortnite's awesome. But when you're Andrew and I who have beaten all the Assassin's Creed and don't play Fortnite, then what more am I getting out of this except for a $15 price tag increase? And this is coming off of them already not looking good with hardware updates, because even within the last year or so, they went from being $499.99 and $299.99 for the Series X and S to jumping to $599 and $379 to now $649 and $399. So it's more expensive now than it was to buy something that's almost 5 years old at this point. And then to add the only thing that was worth still keeping around for Xbox, which was the Game Pass, now being even higher. It's just, it looks like Microsoft isn't doing anything that's consumer friendly, but trying to hide behind a veil that they're giving you more for your money.
And not to mention that Xbox Rogue Ally that they just dropped the prices on, it's like $700 or $1,000 too for the handheld. And it's like, okay, a Switch is less than that. So I just don't understand where their mind is. And it's just, anytime you look at anything, it's just BS with them. Like, even still now, when you look at this thing in Big Top, 400 plus games, how many of those games are small little dingy stupid things where all you're doing is maybe jumping a gap or going left to right, or just something stupid, you know?
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know if it's something that they want to push to. It's like, because we were talking like, you know, they're still going to do a console next generation, and I think that they are, but this clearly alludes that they want to just get people on, maybe pushing towards a PC, or maybe eventually when this does go everywhere. But I just don't see it being beneficial, and it's like, we want Xbox to stay around. I know it's the least favorite or the least profitable machine, right? PlayStation, Switch, Xbox, but you're not doing any favors. This is going to turn a lot of people off, and I don't get what you're doing it and why.
It's just insane because it just comes off as greedy. That's like, and you know, people used to cheer for Phil Spencer and stuff like that. I think what he's going to be remembered for is I think he's done more damage to the brand than Don Matrick did, which is insane to even think about now. But why would you even want Game Pass if you're on something else? This is a service that they said, we want to put Game Pass everywhere. If you're on PC, you can buy a lot of these games cheaper. So why are you going to keep paying $30 a month? You could just do it once or twice or whatever for these one-off games that you don't want to pay full price for. Same thing with, let's say it was on Switch. Or if this service finally, by some whatever reason, was on PlayStation why would you pay for it? It makes zero sense.
It's not making any sense.
It just doesn't make sense. And that's where the only way it makes sense is if you're already on Xbox and you're sub for it, which it still doesn't financially make sense. And that's just what makes me, again, feel like the whale. And I'm just like, dude, like, just enough is enough. And then again, there were lots of rumors like, the next console's being canceled. They're kind of shelving it. They don't know what they're doing. It's in trouble. They came out and put some weak statement. And again, no one said anything. All it is just, well, no, we've we've provided value. The value is there. Who was asking for Fortnite or this other stuff? And again, you have to wonder, and they said this the whole time during the big ABK merger, is, well, we're not going to raise Game Pass prices after we acquire, Activision, Call of Duty, Blizzard. Well, here we are, and the prices are up now. Is this a result of that? Because you are losing all that money on Call of Duty now for something that is free on here, that you could have just owned the company and sold it, and people still would have bought Call of Duty. And I kind of want to say, too, Call of Duty's been in a little bit of a decline. It still sells gangbusters, but if you look at the numbers of viewings to Battlefield, or even recently, the Call of Duty Black Ops beta, which was this past weekend, the numbers were absolutely eclipsed by the Battlefield 6 beta numbers. And that's not saying, it's not going to sell well, because it still will be at the top of the charts. There still are going to be people that are playing it. But it's like, was this the cost of it, killing your brand and killing its identity to own what?
And I'm curious, too, because there's so many people that you can hear about that when they sign up for a Game Pass recently, and they just play a game, and they can beat it. Let's say they beat Hollow Knight, and they're able to cancel it and then get their refund back for $1. So I wonder how much churn this is going to be, because if people are going to be canceling Game Pass altogether, which a lot of people have, now are people just going to be signing up again for when the next clear obscure game drops, and then being able to cancel it and get their money refunded? Because if that's going to be the new model, which is something that's already been happening, then it's like, then what was the point of just not keeping them to begin with?
And it might seem like a scumbag thing to do, but if you're going to offer it, especially in today's economy, like, what did we do that for? We did it for, I think we did it for Star Wars Outlaws with Ubisoft Plus, where we just signed up for the 1 month, and then we went ahead and canceled. And we did the same thing for Assassin's Creed Shadows. We signed up for the 1 month, and then canceled. And if that's what I have to do for this, then that's what I'm going to do. And now you're losing more money, because, again, I'm not going to be the little boy with my finger in the dam trying to keep the whole thing afloat. It just doesn't make any sense. I think the only way it could have possibly made sense is if it had been Ubisoft Premium. I think I'd feel a little bit better about it. But again, I feel like you're forcing this value on me for stuff that I didn't even want. And I don't know who is clamoring for that value with these games, especially too. Fortnite's a free game. So who's complaining that, like, oh man, this is such great value now. I have the Game Pass for my free game that I play. Now I don't have to spend the $12.
You get 1,000 V-Bucks.
Yeah, let's say I'm only playing Fortnite. Fortnite is my life, and I'm playing Fortnite all the time. I get the V-Bucks, I get the Battle Pass or whatever. Cool, now instead of spending $12, I can spend $30. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
The other thing I did want to point out is that GameStop was surprisingly saying they were brushing it off and saying that they're going to keep, what is this, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is still $19.99 with us. GameStop somehow openly brushes off Game Pass price hike. GameStop is openly dismissing Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass Ultimate price hike, promising to keep selling subscriptions online and in-store at the old $19.99 per month rate, as reported by Games Radar. The offer came just a day after GameStop joked, "Oh nothing," when the price increases were announced earlier this week. In a post on X on Wednesday, GameStop announced, "We will continue to sell Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for $19.99 a month in-store and online." And I don't know how they're able to do it, or maybe that stopped since they've posted that. But if you are interested in getting it, don't do it through Xbox. I guess if you still have a GameStop near you, do it that way, because I don't know how they're able.
That's probably what I will do.
Yeah, I don't know how they're able to do it, but if you can still get it for $19.99, then cool, then there's no problem, because now you're getting all that extra bonus stuff, I guess, but for still the same price, which is something I think they should have always done anyway.
It'll be interesting to see if they still do that maybe after December. Maybe they had already bought stock so they could afford to take it at that loss to try to get people in the store. But honestly, it's just so insane that I would ever even have to equate it to, because that's a perfect point. You're not owning anything. It's almost like you're paying someone's mortgage. You're renting a house for an exorbitant price for maybe stuff you don't want, and they're reaping all the benefit.
And we were talking earlier too that I don't know how big of a deal it is, but that because Xbox isn't doing a lot of these good moves, that even stores aren't even carrying the machines anymore. What was it, Costco or something like that?
Just clearing them out. So. I think Best Buy is clearing them out. I haven't seen anything. Costco, I think, has like officially been done. People have been seeing. I think even like Sam's Club too. Like, you can go down there, and they're just doing whatever to get rid of their stock. So instead of raising the price to meet whatever it should be, they're selling them for like $300 for like a Series X. So
they're doing discount prices.
Yeah, so if you do need something and you have any, I would go check somewhere out, and you could probably get something for a good price. So again, it just doesn't look good. And you have nobody who is supposed to be at the helm. These people that are making tons of money, and they're not saying anything.
Tons of money.
Not saying anything. And who's going to get laid off is the people at the lower end. And honestly, I think at this point, and this far be it for me to say, because I don't ever want to see anyone lose their job, people are tired of Phil Spencer. They're tired of Sarah Bond. They're tired of all the BS. Like, it just nonstop lip service that just amounts to nothing.
Nice. So, I know you wanted to go off on that for a little bit. Is that everything you wanted to talk about?
No, that's it. And I will say, honestly, at this point, too...
Are we canceling?
I think we're going to, and maybe even whenever the next consoles come out, this might... It's not even just this, and I hate that that's what people are saying. It's like, oh, this is where this little $10 thing, if you can't afford blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, it was everything that has led up to this.
Yeah, it's treating me as a valuable member of your community.
It's like, I could take the no identity and the other stuff and whatever, but now to make me feel like that, I would rather just jump to PlayStation, and then I'll get your games if they show up there.
Finally coming over. So guys, yeah, let us know what you think about it. There's places that are saying this is outrageous. There's other places that are saying, hey, it's $15 more and you get a little bit more. So let us know what side of the pendulum you're swinging on. So with that being said, guys, we've made it to, that is our recap of September and our first bit of news for October. So let's get into what are you up to? When Andrew and I take a second, talk about what we've been playing, what we've been watching. Andrew, what have you been up to, my friend?
I haven't really been kind of watching too much because I've been busy with my son. But I have been able to knock out some games. I did actually do that Metal Gear, the Gears of War Reloaded when it came out. I played that with my brother and ran through it really quick. So if you haven't got it, it's on the Game Pass. You can go through and play it.
Go play it for $30 a month.
But my big game that I did pay for and I do own was Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is the remake of 3, and I loved it. It's so good, and it just feels so much better to play. And it just gives you all the options you want. You could play it on a classic mode where it still has the fixed camera angles. You can play it on the newer style over the shoulder, so it's easier to do. You can even play it with, people call it the yellow piss filter, where everything's kind of got that dingy yellow color to it. You can play it with the newer one, and it looks so good, and it just feels so good to play. It's such a good story. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and being able to replay it, I can harp on games that maybe don't deserve a remake, do deserve a remake. I think this one deserved it. I love this game. It is just so good. I had such a good time playing it. I didn't 100% it though, because I don't know that I want to deal with the getting the Foxhound rank, because it's not even about the difficulty of fighting stuff. You just have to get through without getting caught the whole time. Yeah, I'm like, do I really want to spend the time to go through and do it? I can do it, but do I want to? I don't think so.
Especially with so many more games coming out.
But I can't say it enough. If you're on the fence about it, go get it on a sale. It's so good. And I believe before we've been talking about it too, I know people were upset that maybe it didn't have new gameplay with bigger open areas and maybe a faster pace movement, because you do move, you're not running through the area. It's not like the Phantom Pain or Ground Zeroes where you're hauling ass running from A to B. But after playing, I'm like, yeah, not that I was upset about it before, but I thought, oh, well, why wouldn't you do that? You already gave it the controller scheme. It would completely break the game with how fast you can go through everything. And it's just, it's good. Get out there and play it if you're on the fence.
It's not even full price, is it?
I think that one was $60. It wasn't $70, okay. I don't think. So you should get out there, go play it.
I know Sam was just talking to me that he was going to start it, so I'm curious if he's gotten farther in it.
On my playthrough of it, and again, a majority of it is the dialogue too. I think it was like 12 hours, maybe 14 hours, so it's not too long. And it's something that even afterwards, I'm like, okay, I'm missing stuff. I'm going to go through and replay it, and I'm going to sit there and put an extra amount of time into it, where I don't know the last time I beat a game that wasn't like Dark Souls or something. I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't mind replaying this. I'm going to replay it again. And it's hard to think too of games that aren't your classics or your favorites. When's the last time? Yeah. Are you really going to go back 10 years from now and replay Expedition 33 or something like you used to do, you know, when you were younger?
Because I know Mario RPG is probably one of the more recent games that I went back that I've beaten, and I'm obviously starting Galaxy, but yeah, I don't really see going back. I think the only game I went back and played twice, which was fairly recently, was Octopath Traveler, but that's only because I played it on the Switch and then I played it on Xbox, but...
And then my other game that I'm playing is, I had finally gotten Yu-Gi-Oh! There's Legacy of the Duelist, and then there's the second one, Link Evolution. I think they just incorporated all the DLC off the first one into this, and essentially, I don't know if I talked about it before, but it's one of my comfort games that I play usually before Call of Duty, or just anything, just when I have some downtime, because I enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you can play online, you can build your own deck. There's even pack openings where you open packs and then you build your deck off of that, or you just that one's draft play, or it'll give you just random cards out of a deck and you can play people randomly with that. But then there's a story mode for each of the animes, and I just went through and finished the first one, and you can do it by building your own deck, and so you can completely wipe people out. Or what's lately been the better challenge, what I'm doing is I'm doing it using the story deck. So I'm using Joey's shitty deck that doesn't make any sense. That has 5 baby dragons in there, and somehow I'm supposed to win with that. And then you could do the reverse side of it. So Yugi versus Pegasus, and then you could do Pegasus versus Yugi. And so now I'm using the Toon World deck to try to beat his Dark Magician deck and whatever. And it's just so much fun if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! And it teaches you how to do everything, because I'm not into the more modern ones where you can synchro summon, and then I think there's another one that's the VR where you can link summon or something. I forget what it's called. So it teaches you all that stuff. So I'm kind of getting into it. I'm getting a little interested. But again, I can enjoy those stories and build a classic deck the way I want it to be, that I think could stand up to it. And I'm going to have a little bit of a challenge, or maybe someone will wipe the floor with me. But eventually I can get a good enough draw to where I'm just I'm wiping them out instead. So it is really fun. If that's something you're interested in, It's really good.
Nice. I do see you on it all the time, so I'm glad that you are enjoying it. Do the alternate battles, like Pegasus, does it give you any new cutscenes? Like,
no, that would be kind of cool. Like that Dragon Ball is Sparking Zero that just did something like that. That would have been kind of cool. But either way, it's still just fun, especially if you're not into it. And again, this newer one is the complete anime. So before the last one, I think only went to Battle City Finals. This one does, for like the original, goes into the Awakening the Dragon arc, and then whatever the newer seasons Yu-Gi-Oh are on there. So
nice. As far as what I've been up to, I started playing Ghost of Yotei, but I'm not that far into it, so I'll save that for our next show. But I did just recently beat Borderlands 4, which is a 2025 action role-playing first-person looter-shooter game developed by Gearbox Software and published by 2K. It's a sequel to Borderlands 3 and the 5th mainline entry in the Borderline series. I gotta say, it's a great game. If you're not a big fan of a lot of the writing or maybe even any of the old Borderlands, you could start this one as a fresh entry point. And I think enjoy yourself. It's a lot cleaner. It's now has like an open world instead of zoned areas. I played Amon, the Forge Knight, and I played I think the Onslaughter build, because like every Borderland, there's 4 characters and then there's 3 different builds you can kind of do with your character that go off of different abilities. What I liked in this one, I don't believe is in any of the other ones, is you can put points in other skill trees as long as they're passives and still get their abilities to build for your character. I had a lot of fun with it. I played with Geno, and a big shout out to Collins because he helped me at the end because, well, first of all, it's doing really well. Borderlands 4 has surpassed 2.5 million players and generated over $150 million in revenue across PC and console, so the game's doing well. However, it did have a lot of problems, especially on the PS5, that people were having issues with, like let's see, let me read this real quick. Acknowledge memory leak, an issue on PS5 and other consoles which causes performance degradation and frame rate drops after continuous play. They were saying after an hour you would start seeing these dips and things like that, and it was crashing people's games. Mine, however, I didn't really notice any of that. I had one crash in the very beginning, but since then I didn't really have any issues up until the very end of the game. I almost beat the main boss. I had a little bit left and I got killed. So I did it again, what I don't like, spoiler, is that he has 2 forms, and when you beat the first one, and if you die on the second one, you have to start over and beat the first one and the second one again instead of starting with
the Dark Souls,
an autosave. So, however, when I was playing it, that's when my game did crash, and I was almost about to beat him. I'm like, fuck. So I did it again. My game crashed again. I was like, dude, I don't want to keep doing this because it's a long fight when you're doing it by yourself. So I threw up the bat signal, and Colin showed up, and he came in and helped me. We played it together at the end, which made it way quicker. So before anything could crash, me and him crushed the last boss. So I did end up beating it. It's a fantastic game. Dude, there's tons of different builds. Tons of websites you can look at on how to build your certain character. I know Geno's playing it now. I know my buddy Raimundo's playing it now. So however, if you are playing it on PS5, I might wait on it because for me on Xbox, I didn't have any issues except for, the 2 or 3 crashes. But PS5 and PC are getting hit pretty hard with all that memory shit.
What was the name of that game with the monkey that came out on PlayStation and then
Black Myth
Wukong? It's funny, that's the second time since Black Myth Wukong that I heard a big issue for a game is a memory leak. I had never heard, unless people just didn't put it out or maybe I didn't read into it, I never heard that until that. And then that's funny that you bring that up.
Well, because I know a lot of it's coming from people having issues with Unreal Engine. So I don't know if Black Myth Wukong was made on Unreal Engine, but a lot of Unreal Engine 5, I should say, which is the newer engine that's running. And outside of like first-party games like on PlayStation that are extremely intimate with the system, there are no problems. But it seems like these third-party games that are using it are having big crashes and things like this with Unreal. So I'd say maybe keep your eye on news and see if there's any patches before you jump into it. But I gotta say, as far as I played, outside of the ending, I had a good time with it.
You like it more than 3?
Yeah, 3 was trash. 4 is a solid entry point, man. Like, I know you're not the biggest fan of Borderlands, but if you would jump into 4...
That's because 3 was the first one I played.
Yeah, 4 is a solid game. So, good shooting, good dynamics. It's I can't gush about it enough outside of the problem, so wait if you're a tad skeptical. As far as what I've been watching, I've been watching a ton of stuff, especially over the last month, but one that I did want to point out was I did watch Final Destination Bloodlines, which seems to be doing pretty good. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah, the new one, which is plagued by a violent and recurring nightmare. A college student heads home to track down the one person who might be able to break the cycle of death and save her family from the grisly demise that inevitably awaits them all. So I've only seen like number 1 and 2, but in this one, the premise is you watch this girl have this premonition of all these people dying at this event she went to, but then she kind of snaps out of it and it didn't happen yet. So she prevents all these deaths from happening. So the movie kind of starts with she's like the granddaughter, and now death is finally coming back. And when they kind of get into the timeline, like death has been slowly taking out all these people who survived from this event. And dude, the deaths in this thing are gnarly, man, especially the ending. So I had a blast with it. I can't really say too much about it without getting into who dies and what, but it did extremely well. The budget for the movie was $50 million, and it made $313 million. So it definitely crushed, and it set a record. Final Destination Bloodlines holds the franchise record for the highest worldwide gross, crossing $310 million globally, and is also the franchise's best reviewed installment with the 92% tomato reader score. So if you were on the fence about it, or you're not a big fan of the movies, like I don't watch all of them, this one is a standalone, and dude, it was gory, and I had a blast with it. Me and Sam watched it, and there were these points where I was like, God damn, dude, people were getting crushed. So it's a perfect movie to watch now that we're in October if you want a chance to see it. I forget what it was on. I don't think I wrote it down. It's either on like Paramount or Amazon or something, but I do gotta say it's Tony Todd's last appearance, which you can tell, man. I was looking it up because he had some type of cancer, I think stomach cancer. He's very thin in it. He's in one of my favorite movie of all time, The Man from Earth. So good shout out to him. But that's what I've been playing, guys. That's what I've been watching. So with that down out of the way, guys, that is a wrap. Oh,
so before you end, I do want to give Craig a special shout out for joining the 300K club.
Oh yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, it felt nice. I didn't even realize I hit 300. Talking about gamer score, I forget what I was playing, and I was looking up something. I was like, oh man, I just beat it. And I was like, because usually when I did like 200, I think it was with Geno, and he was with me when I beat a game. I was kind of like by myself, and I was like, But it was still a lot of fun, man. Thank you.
I was watching you crush stuff, and then I was like, oh, you know what? Oh, because Christina asked, and she's like, oh, how much further is he ahead of you? And I was like, I think he's like 70. I was like, it used to be a lot closer. At what point I had more than you.
Yeah.
And then you just took off.
So, yeah, thank you for that, man. So, guys, leave down in the comments below any of your thoughts or questions about anything we've talked about, what you've been playing, what you've been watching. But that is the end of episode 221. Join us next time for episode 222. 222. So until then, guys, my name is Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemayor. Cheers.
Cancel your Game Pass.